Okay, we talked about the e-stop. I wanted to talk about these plunger buttons here. You're gonna notice that they say manual/calibrate. And what that means, when you're out of float mode, you're in that programming mode, again, it's not gonna float for you. You can push those plungers in either down or up, and they'll carry the controller up or down, much like the buttons on a chainfall. When you go into float mode, so we depress that button, the blue light comes on telling you you're in float. These buttons now function as calibration units. So you come down, when you grab a block, if I want to recalibrate this block, I hold the plunger in, and when it comes up, the screen will tell you what the unit weighs, and you'll come up and there's your 64 pounds again. You could also come down with the unit and do the same thing. You hold it in, and again, as soon as you remove your finger, it's gonna weigh the unit. So the plunger buttons are a dual function. When you're out of float mode, they're simply up and down. When you're in float mode, they function as a calibration button. And again, you hold the plunger in, it moves. As soon as you take your finger away, it's gonna weigh the unit. And the other thing to keep in mind when you're weighing these units is you can steady the block. What you don't want to do is lean on it or lift up on it, because that'll artificially add or subtract weight to the block. The other button that's on here and people will ask about is the speed button on the top. 95% of the time you're going to operate with the speed button out. That's your normal speed. If you depress it, it's going to slow the approach down when you lower into the mud. And it'll also slow it during some other features, but the main point is it'll slow down your approach. So here when we come down and you hit that button, it just takes it down a little bit slower than it would have otherwise. And again, once you bring it back out, it just goes into normal speed. Most of the time you're gonna operate in your standard speed. One instance where we've had users, if you have very wet mud and it tends to want to drop below the line, sometimes people will engage that lower speed. But that's it. It covers all the buttons that you're going to see on this controller.